Hello everyone, welcome back. So, this is our second video on previous year ICR question paper series. And in the first video, we have already done the most important questions from agriculture. And if you haven't watched it yet, please watch and the link is provided in the description box. And in today, we are going to share the top 50 questions from biology section. So without wasting much time, let's get into today's video. The very first question is, which of the technique is associated with in vitro DNA replication? And the options are polymerase chain reaction, ELISA, RT-PCR, Biolistics, and transformation. Choose the correct answer from the option given below. And from this, the right one is option 2, that is A and C only, polymerase chain reaction and RT-PCR. Next is a match the following, and the list 1 consists of Pusa Gaurav, Pusa Savani, Pusa Komal and Pusa Sadabahar. List 2, fruit borer, aphid, tobacco mosaic virus, bacterial blight. And from the options given below, the right one is option number 3. That is Pusa Gaurav, aphid, Pusa Savani, food borer, Pusa Komal, bacterial blight, and Pusa Sadabahar, tobacco mosaic virus. The next is also a match the following, and the list 1 consists of interferons, diacetylmorphin, lysozyme, hemozoin. And the list 2, isolation of DNA, rupture of RBC, opioid, cytokine barrier. And from the options given below, the right one is option number 3, that is interferon, cytokine barrier, diacetylmorphin, opioid, lysozyme, isolation of DNA, hemozoin, rupture of RBC. The next match the following. List 1 consists of fast muscle fibers, slow muscle fibers, actin filament, sarcomere. And the list 2, myoglobin, lactic acid, contractile unit, I band. And the right one is option 3. That is fast muscle fibers, lactic acid, slow muscle fibers, myoglobin, actin filament, I band, sarcomere, contractile unit. So the right one is option 3. In the next match the following, list 1 consists of lichen, invade bare area, reed swamp stage, climax. And the list 2 consists of pioneer species, hydrosphere, final stable community, lithosphere. And the right one is option 1, that is lichen, lithosphere, invade bare area, pioneer species, reed swamp stage, hydrosphere, and climax, final stable community. In the next match the following the list 1 consists of aposematic coloration, Batesian mimicry, Mullerian mimicry, cryptic coloration. And the list 2 consists of cuckoo bee, hawk moth larva, poison dart frog, canyon tree frog. And from the options given below, the right one is option 3. That is aposematic coloration, poison dart frog, Batesian mimicry, hawk moth larva, Mullerian mimicry, cuckoo bee, cryptic coloration, canyon tree frog. In the next question, arrange in correct sequence in respect of respiration. And from the options given below, the right one is option 4. So the correct sequence is breathing or pulmonary ventilation, by which air is drawn in and CO2 rich air is released out. Then comes diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide across the alveolar membrane. Then transport of gases by the blood. Then diffusion of oxygen and CO2 between blood and tissue. And at last, utilization of oxygen by the cells for the catabolic reaction and resultant release of CO2. So the right one is option 4. Next is, given below are two statements. Statement 1, a colorblind girl is rare because she will inherit the trait only when her father and maternal grandfather were colorblind. And statement 2, a colorblind mother and normal father would have colorblind son and daughter. And in light of the above statement, choose the most appropriate answer from the options given below. And the right one is option 3. That is, statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. The next is, given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion A and other is reason. Assertion: concentration of methane in the atmosphere has been doubled in last 250 years. Reason: wetland and rice field are the major source of methane. The right one is option 2. That is, both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. So the right one is option 2. The next one. Organisms that do not enrich the nutrient quality of soil is. The options are bacteria, fungus, cyanobacteria, mycorrhiza. And the right one is option 4, mycorrhiza. The next one is a match the following, and the list 1 having coelomate, pseudocoelomate, acoelomate, diploblastic, and list 2 ashhelminthes, platyhelminthes, annelid, cylindrites. So the right one is option 2, that is coelomate, annelid, pseudocoelomate, ashhelminthes, acoelomate, platyhelminthes, and diploblastic cylindrites. Next is an assertion reason question, and the assertion having ectotherms are able to remain active under cold condition. Reason: this happens because they are able to maintain a constant internal temperature even when the temperature outside fluctuates. And in light of the above statement, the right one is option 4. That is, A is not correct, but R is correct. Next is, which of the following characteristics differentiate bryophytes from algae? And the right one is option 3. A, B, E only. That is, attachment to a substratum by unicellular rhizoids, haploid condition, and lack of true roots and stem. Next is, given below are two statements. Statement 1, pyramid of energy is always upright, can never be inverted. Statement 2, when energy flows from one trophic level to next trophic level, some energy is always lost as heat. So in light of the above statement, the right one is option 1. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. The next is decomposition. In this question, choose the correct answer from the option given below. And then the right one is option 3, B, C and D only. That is, decomposition gives rise to humus and inorganic nutrients. It is depend on oxygen availability and it involves fragmentation, catabolism and leaching. So right one is option 3. Next is a match the following and the list 1 isogamous, heterosporous, gemme, coloroid roots and the list 2 cycus, spirogyra, selangella, mercantia. Choose the correct one. And the right one is option 2, that is isogamous, spirogyra, heterosporous, selangella, gemme, mercantia, coralloid root, cycus. Next is find out the incorrect match with respect to mollusca. And the right one is option 2, that is gastropoda. Rudimentary head, foot conical and shell tubular. It is the incorrect match with mollusca. The next is also a match the following and the list 1 consists of Friedrich Miescher, Rosalind Franklin, James Watson and Matthew Meselson. List 2 used X-ray analysis to investigate DNA structure, provided experimental evidence of semi-conservative DNA replication, discovered DNA, elucidated three-dimensional double helix DNA structure. And the right one is option 4, that is Friedrich Miescher, who discovered DNA. Rosalind Franklin used X-ray analysis to investigate DNA structure. James Watson elucidated three-dimensional double helix DNA structure. And Matthew Meselson provided the experimental evidence of semi-conservative DNA replication. The next one, which of the following compounds are secondary metabolites? Choose the correct answer from the option given below and the right one is option 2, that is A, B and E only. Morphine, heparin and curcumin are secondary metabolites. Next, which of the following is not a modification of root? Choose the correct answer. And the right one is option 3, that is B and E only. Potato and zamingant is not the modification of root. The next is given below are two statements. Statement 1, medullary zone of kidney is divided into few conical masses called the medullary pyramid which project into calyces. And statement 2, inside the kidney the cortical region extends in between the medullary pyramid as a renal pelvis. So in light of the above statement, choose the most appropriate answer. And the right one is option 2. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are incorrect. The next is mutation in which of the following would affect the functionality of eukaryotic flagella? Choose the correct one. And the right one is option 1, A only, Dynein. Next is arranged in correct sequence with respect of Meiosis-I. And in light of the options given below, the right one is option 2. That is, the first comes compaction of chromosomes, then formation of synaptonymal complex, then comes crossing over, then chiasmata formation, and the last one is disappearance of nucleolus and breakdown of nuclear envelope. The next one is, which of the following cannot be used as vector for cloning in recombinant DNA technology? And the options are plasmid, plastid, bacteriophage, bacterial artificial chromosome. And the right one is option 2, plastid. The next is statement 1, morphine leads to delusion and disturbed emotion. Statement 2, barbiturates causes relaxation and temporary euphoria. And in light of the above statement, choose the appropriate answer. And the right one is option 2. That is, both statement 1 and statement 2 are incorrect. Consider the following reaction in glycolysis and arrange in correct sequence. So, and choose the correct from the options given below. The right one is option 2. That is, first comes phosphorylation of glucose, then isomerization of glucose 6-phosphate, then comes phosphorylation of fructose 6-phosphate, next cleavage of fructose 1,6-diphosphate, and at last isomerization of dihydroxyacetone phosphate. So right one is option 2. The next is given below are two statements. Statement 1, the generation of cellular diversity is known as differentiation. Statement 2, formation of interfascicular cambium and core cambium from fully differentiated parenchyma cells are examples of de-differentiation. And in light of the above statement, the right one is option 1. That is, both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. The next question, statement 1. In mitosis, chromosomal number in the progeny as well as in parent remains the same. Statement 2. Mitosis takes place only in gametes. And in light of the above statement, the right one is option 3. That is, statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect. The next one. A person experiences sweating and increased heartbeat before an interview. Which of the following hormones are responsible for this restlessness? The options are estrogen and vasopressin, progesterone and oxytocin, adrenaline and non-adrenaline, insulin and glucagon. And the right one is option 3, adrenaline and noradrenaline. The next one is species A has 2n equal 12 and species B has 2n equal 18. What are the possible chromosome number that may be found in an allotetraploid formed from species A and species B? And the right one is option 1, 27, 30 and 33. In the next question, statement 1 has species confined to a particular region and are not found anywhere else are called endemic species. Statement 2, keystone species are usually abundant in an ecosystem. So in light of the above statement, the right one is option 3. That is, statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect. Next is characteristics of wind pollinated plants are. Choose the correct answer from the options given below, and the right one is option 2, A and C only. That is, well exposed stamen and non-sticky pollen are the characteristics of wind pollinated plants. The next one, arrange in correct sequence of the levels of biological organization. And from the options given below, the right one is option 3. That is, organism, population, community, ecosystem and biosphere. This is the correct sequence of a biological organization. And the next one, arrange the different steps of plant breeding in correct sequence. And from this, the right one is option 1. That is, collection of variability, parent evaluation and selection, cross hybridization, superior recombinant selection, and at last testing, release and commercialization. So right one is option 1. The next one is a match the following, and list 1 consists of indole acetic acid, zeatin, gibberellic acid, ethifone, and list 2 increase the length of grape stalks, hasten fruit ripening in tomatoes, overcome apical dominance, rooting in stem cuttings. So, The right one is option 3. That is indole acetic acid rooting in stem cutting, zeaxanthin overcome apical dominance, gibberellic acid increase the length of grape stalks, and ethifone hasten fruit ripening in tomatoes. The next one, carbon monoxide is considered as pollutant because it, and the right one is option 3, because it forms a stable compound with hemoglobin. The next is, given below are two statements. An assertion, a morphology-based approach to taxonomy is called alpha taxonomy and it is old-fashioned. Reason, a multidisciplinary approach to taxonomy called omega taxonomy is favored in recent years as it excludes morphological features. And in light of the above statement, choose the most appropriate answer. And the right one is option 3. That is, assertion is correct, but reason is not correct. In contrast to eukaryotes, prokaryotes lack. The options are aerobic respiration, DNA, ribosome, mitochondria. And the right one is option 4, mitochondria. Next is, a typical embryo sac in angiosperm at maturity is. And the right one is option 2, 8 nucleate, 7 celled. The next is, which of the following is not an anabolic process? Choose the correct answer from the options given below. And the right one is option 3, A and D only. That is, oxidative deamination of neurotransmitter by monoamine oxidase, and hydrogen peroxide decomposes into water and oxygen is not an anabolic process. So the right one is option 3. Next is, given below are two statements. Statement 1, in Phaeophyceae, laminarin is a stored food and major pigment are chlorophyll A and B. Statement 2, in Rhodophyceae, floridine starch is a stored food and the major pigments are chlorophyll A, B and phycoerythrin. So choose the correct answer. And the right one is option 4. Statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is correct. The next is statement 1, majority of heterotrophic bacteria decomposes. Statement 2, bacteria are the sole members of kingdom Monera, and choose the right one. And the right one is option 1. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. The next is, the evil quartet responsible for the decline in biodiversity are. Choose the right one. And the right one is option 2. That is A, B and D only. Habitat loss, overexploitation, coextension. The next one. The sequence of a DNA strand is TT, CG, CA, TG. The sequence of complementary strand will be. And the right one is option 1. AA, GC, GT, AC is the right one. Next is statement 1. Mutation are random and directionless while Darwinian variation are small and directional. Statement 2. Darwin finches represent one of the best examples of adaptive radiation. And in light of the above statement, choose the most appropriate answer. And the right one is option 1. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. The next is, reflex action has all of the following except. The right one is option 2. Except transmission of impulse into the central nervous system through effector organ. Next is match the following, and the list 1, Haemophilus influenzae, rhinovirus, Bucheria malai, Plasmodium falciparum, and list 2, common cold, elephantiasis, pneumonia, malignant malaria. And the right one is option 1, that is Haemophilus influenza pneumonia, rhinovirus, common cold, Bucheria malai, elephantiasis, and Plasmodium falciparum, malignant malaria. Animal husbandry, inbreeding is one of the preferred methods to increase the yield of animals and improve the productivity. Statement 2, continued clause, inbreeding will lead to the enhancement of fertility and productivity. And the right one is option 3, that is statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. The next one is, which of the following is accurately paired? Gonorrhea, glossina, syphilis, treponema, filariasis, leishmania, and encephalitis, Neisseria. And the right one is option 2, syphilis, treponema. And the last question of this series is, what is the scientific name of daisy cotton? And from the options given below, the right one is option 3, Gossypium arboreum. So this is the top 50 questions of previous year from ICR, and we will be back with the most important questions from physics and chemistry too. Till then, please do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.